Daily Ascent. I'm Molly Carmel, and this is the podcast that I always wish existed. A bite sized, on the ground spiritual note that can shift your thinking and your outlook on life to make us a little bit more awake, alive, and ascending. So today I want to talk about something deceptively simple: the practice of just being there. No fixing, no solving, no rescuing. Because sometimes the most loving thing that we can do for people, and honestly for ourselves, is just to witness. So I was working with a coaching client and she was just exhausted. I mean, exhausted. She looked tired. She said she was tired. Her shoulders were tense. It was just like her whole vibe was just like, life is too much. And as we were chatting, it all spilled out. Her, Everything around her was so chaotic. People she loved were sick. Friends were dying, falling apart, and she was just holding so many stories of suffering that she was like disappearing inside of them. And she wasn't taking care of herself. Her relationship with food was really spiraling out. She was really binging at night and like grazing all through the day. And that was not behavior that she defined as loving. And, she would be like, I would go out to dinner with my friends and I would be listening and listening and I just can't fix it. Like, I just can't fix any of this. I can't fix anything that's going on in their lives. And I took a breath because I really understood where she was coming from. And I put on my coach hat and I just quietly looked at her and said, what if fixing isn't the only option? And what if fixing isn't the right option? And she froze. And it was like I literally had spoken a new language to her. And she was like, tell me more. Like, what do you even mean? And, I shared with her, like, what if your job isn't to solve and isn't to fix and isn't to manage this? And I offered this to her. I said, what if your job is just to bear witness? What if your job is just to bear witness, to love your friends by being there, by holding space without taking it on? I'm telling you, this is such an underrated thing. And in a way, I really think that our not enoughness, like us not thinking that we're enough and everybody being a mirror of everybody around us, is one of the main reasons that we feel like we have to manage and make it happen and manipulate and take on other people's stuff. So I said to her, like, what if the greatest act you can do for your friends right now is just to witness them? It's just to hold space. Like, I want to offer that to you as a job. And her whole body changed. Like, her whole body changed. And she like started to tear up. And of course she did. And she said this thing to me. She said, I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, I didn't even know that was allowed. And it was like I had given her permission to live a whole new life. And that's the thing about bearing witness. It's not passive. It's actually incredibly powerful. And for her, it was really the difference between drowning in everyone else's pain and learning to stay present in her own skin. And again, not need to go and numb herself with food. So today's pocket sage comes from one of my favorite teachers who actually taught me this concept, Tara Brach. And she writes an amazing book. My goodness, if you are like, this podcast is resonating with me so much, Molly, go read Radical Acceptance. It's like, it's a big spiritual important book. Big. And so she writes in this book, and when I've trained with her, she says this all the time. What she really says is, and I'll read you the quote in a second, but She says, the greatest gift that we give others is our full attention. Like the greatest gift we give is witness. And so the quote from the book is, the deepest expression of love is simple presence. When we offer our full attention to another being without judgment or agenda, we create the space where healing can unfold naturally. Presence is the essence of love. One more for those of you in the back. The deepest expression of love is simple presence. When we offer our full attention to another being without judgment or agenda, we create the space where healing can unfold naturally. Presence is the essence of love. You know, and when I first read that, I thought like, this is what my client discovered that day. Like her night eating, her exhaustion, her guilt, they weren't about willpower or food. It very rarely is. They were about trying to carry what was not hers to carry. And Tara's words remind us that love isn't always about doing and fixing. A lot of the time, it's about allowing. The presence obviously doesn't remove the pain, but it transforms the way it's held. And so, so much of our suffering comes in like believing that it's our job to fix what's broken in others and in ourselves. But the real healing so often happens when we stop reaching for the wrench and instead just reach for an awareness. And witnessing it doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care so deeply that you have the capacity to sit with what is instead of trying to outrun it. And when we witness, we bring light to the darkness, and we're not trying to bleach it away. We're just saying, I see you. I see you. I can't change this, but I'll sit here with you. And, that includes the parts of us that we're trying to fix, because we can witness our own pain with judgment, or we can witness our own pain with tenderness. And when we can witness it with tenderness, we don't necessarily need to numb it. We don't need to numb it with food or control or shopping or busyness or guilt or, the list goes on and on. And so, of course, presence, it doesn't solve everything, but it does soften everything. And it's this quiet medicine that we all need that just says, like, you're not alone. So today's word of the day, presence. Presence. It's what happens when love slows down enough to notice. That feeling of being anchored even when the storm hasn't passed. It isn't fancy. It's just human. And it's the warmth of like your hand on someone else's shoulder saying, I'm here. I'm here and you're enough, right? It's a silence that doesn't demand solution. So presence isn't about fixing pain. It's about refusing to turn away from it. And that is a powerful act, my friends. So your question today, where in your life are you trying to fix what simply needs your witness? And how would things change if you believed that your presence, your quiet, your grounding being was enough? And listen, tomorrow's Thanksgiving, and that is a day that can stir up all kinds of emotions. And I want to remind you of this. You don't have to fix anyone's experience, including your own. If things get loud, if the feelings get big, if the day feels tender, just be there. Listen, breathe, be present. And friends, all the podcasts take a break for the holidays. I personally hate it. I know we need rest, but Daily Ascent is not taking a break for the holidays because I think this is when we need this kind of podcast the most, when our spirits are getting tested, when our hearts feel stretched. We need this reminder that we're not alone now more than ever. So you can count on me. I'll be here for the holidays and beyond, helping you to find your footing and your peace and your way back home to yourself. And so until next time, I am here with you and for you, one imperfect moment at a time. Bye.